This is the R8. It's made from a blend of carbon fibre, magnesium and aluminium. It has 2 seats. The engine's in the middle. And it's about as high off the ground as a badger's badger. By any measure, it's a full-on supercar, but so far as I can tell, it doesn't have any of the usual supercar drawbacks. You can see out of it. And it's not powered by some V17 quad turbo that does half a mile to the gallon and runs on diced lions. It's actually got the same 4.2-litre V8 that Audi put in the RS4 saloon. And would you listen to it? I am now doing 100 miles an hour, and it sounds like I'm in church. Only I've got more headroom. And how have they done that? How can there be so much space in a car that's so low? How? I can only presume, and this is a revolting thought, I know, that my buttocks are actually kissing the capsize. Not only is it spacious, but it's comfortable as well. And at £77,000, it costs about half as much as its stepsister, the Lamborghini Gallardo. It all sounds brilliant. But there are 1 or 2 issues that are worth mentioning. Most of the things on it, the leather upholstery, the satellite navigation, the stainless steel pedals, the Bang & Olufsen stereo, in fact, nearly everything is an optional extra. And I don't think it's a particularly good-looking car. It's not balanced properly, somehow. And those LED fairy lamps at the front, they really don't work at all. They make it look like a council house at Christmas. The thing is, though, you won't catch lamps when you open the taps a little bit. 0 to 60 takes 4.6 seconds. The top speed is as near as makes no difference, 190. It's not the speed, though, that impresses you most of all. It's the way this thing feels through the corners. Driving most supercars is like trying to manhandle a cow up a back staircase. This is like smearing honey into Keira Knightley. It may have 4-wheel drive, but it never sends more than 1/3 of the power to the front wheels. So you don't really ever get any understeer. It's grip, 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 and then if it does let go, it's just so manageable. Sold. As far as I'm concerned, this car is almost without fault. It is absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, the Gallardo, the baby Lambo, never really cut the mustard. As you'd expect, it isn't quite as nice to drive as a Ferrari 430. The steering isn't quite as delicate, there's less immediacy from the engine, and there's not quite as much poise. Sure, it has a flappy paddle gearbox and they just up the power a bit, but it still isn't a proper driver's car. Now, that would be fine if it was flamboyant and mad, but it isn't. Feels sort of like a big Audi TT. Now, though, they've launched a £131,000 convertible version, and I'm delighted to say the lunacy's back. There are faults. The steering wheel, for instance, is covered in a bath mat, and if you push the seat all the way back, as I have to, it squeaks against the firewall. Can you hear that? It does that the whole time you're driving along. And you can never find the seat belt. Well, I don't care! Sure, you're going to get people coming up to you saying, oh, you could have gone round that corner point, three of a second faster if you'd had a Ferrari. Oh, you know, that's 100 kilograms heavier than the coupe, don't you? And it doesn't matter. Because I've got 93 million miles of headroom and I've got orange seats, and listen to this! The sound of a 5-litre V10 engine. It's the noise of 512 rampaging Italian horsepowers. It's like listening to the Cirque du Soleil being chopped up by their own chainsaws. One of the things I love most about this car, though, is that they've painted it grey and fitted active exhausts that are supposed to be quiet at low speeds. But they're not fooling anyone. You can try to drive it quietly if you want to, but it's impossible, because if you accidentally stray over 3,500 RPM, you just get this sort of bark, like that. You hear that? Quiet. Bark. Ah! Driving through my local town the other day, and I nearly gave some poor old woman on the pavement a heart attack. Oh, sorry, love, sorry. There are two ways of removing a dodgy tooth, you know. There's the Ferrari way, which is an exquisite high-speed drill. Then there's the Lambo way, which is a big hammer. Yes! This is being alive now. Who cares about 5-way traction control? I don't want that. I want more of this. I'm in love. It isn't all clown shoes and spinning bow ties, though. I mean, it has four-wheel drive, so there's lots of grip. It'll go from 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. And flat out, it'll be doing 195. That is pretty serious. Better still, it has a proper gearbox. The flappy paddle nonsense is a £5,000 optional extra. What's more, Lambo is owned these days by Audi, so you even get some German common sense. The nose, for instance, can be raised up when you get to a speed bump. And there's more. Inside, a lot of the equipment, the sat-nav, the aircon, the dials and so on, all come from an A8, so they sort of work. I remember the air conditioning in Lambos of old used to be an asthmatic sitting at the dashboard.